Symcor is a Canadian-based fintech company that's been around for more than 25 years. Prior to you joining in 2018, the emphasis on marketing was less than robust, which had resulted in low brand visibility in addition to an outdated perception of the brand. How did you press reset?
That's a great question, Matthew. And a few years before I had joined the company, Symcor had been seeing huge amounts of transition and change in its core group of products and services with a growth strategy at the forefront. They had already began to evolve its line of products and services in order to meet new and emerging needs. However, the market was not as aware of the organization's new capabilities because there was no corporate wide marketing function in place in order to really get that message out there. And clients might not have intuitively thought of Symcor when it thought about partnerships for these new and emerging areas. So when I came on board, I wanted to create a marketing function that did not solely focus on immediate tactics for customer acquisition, but rather balanced short-term needs with a long-term roadmap that embodied that growth mindset that I believed the company needed in order to reach the heights that it wanted to, not just now, but also in the future. So what I did when I started is structure a very comprehensive plan that started with foundational elements of putting together a team of experts in the area of product, brand, social and digital, content, events and sponsorships. And I also looked for the right agency partners that were well suited to supporting an organization that was undertaking such a large degree of transformation and change. And I wanted our approach to be a mix of strong and bold, but also agile and smart, so that we could bring the best of both worlds to Symcor and its marketing function, and then also in terms of bringing Symcor out to the market.
Okay, and in addition to bringing all of these various elements together, as you started to develop the company's marketing strategy, how important was it to craft a sharper customer personae in terms of getting a better definition of your audience?
It was absolutely crucial. But it's never quite as clear cut as we think it's going to be. So Symcor was in this position of having a core group of customers that ingested its core products and services, but we had to start speaking to and had to start speaking very urgently to that newer group, that newer target audience that would be looking at partnering with it for its future products and services. We needed to start building that credibility now in order to earn our place at the table when we were ready to go to market in the very near future with these emerging sets of products and services. So our marketing team worked very closely with our sales and our product teams, and we employed an outside in approach where we looked at the pain points, we looked at the landscape, we looked at the other competitors that existed in the market and where the gaps were. Then, and this was probably the hardest part of this exercise, we honed in on what were our unique differentiators and our skills that we could bring to the market that also had proof points in place so that it wasn't just our thoughts and our feelings, but we could really target in on where our company could bring value. And that enabled us to create messaging that bridged today and tomorrow with a very clear and consistent value proposition.
Mhm. How important is that outside in view? And is it getting more and more important by the minute?
I think it was always important, but did everyone always do it? No. And I think now we're being driven to because I come from a background of also being in sales before I was in marketing. And I think it brings that very special lens of being in front of the customer and having to really reinforce your decisions and your reasons and your value. So I bring that lens to marketing as well. And I think it's to answer your question, I think you absolutely have to have it, or else you're not speaking to your audience and not in a way
Okay.
that's compelling.
Okay, and with regard to the specifics of the campaign, what was the light bulb moment for the campaign, which is titled Head Snap 2.0 2.0, little play on 2020?
I distinctly remember when the agency brought the creative concept to us. And Symcor is built on supporting its clients through their digital transformation. So, digital transformation is at the core of everything that we do. And in presenting this concept to us, our agency partner, who is named Uncommon Toronto, said that digital transformation is much like an elephant in that it could be lumbering, daunting, huge. It could be seen as inefficient. But with Symcor as your trusted partner, digital transformation could be accelerated. It could be secure. It could be efficient. And then it was pop, 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 pop. Light bulbs just went out all over the place, went on all over the place for us because we found a way to address the elephant in the room, those pivotal barriers that clients undertake when they're going on their own digital transformations. And it allowed us to see how we could bring to life very vividly Symcor's own unique differentiators that can help overcome those barriers for a successful outcome for our clients.
Okay, and if you could elaborate a little bit on the elephant, using the elephant to drive the message. It's an elephant in the room, an expression that everybody gets immediately. Was that part of the strategy, and did it ultimately really help to distinguish the brand in terms of
Absolutely.
that elephant imagery?
Absolutely. When we first, our marketing team first worked with the agency on the creative concept and developed it, we were sold. It was a done deal. It was a home run. We could just see how this could come to life in the market. But I've got to admit, there was a part of me in the back of my mind that kept popping up and lurking up in, can the organization support this? Is it too bold? And I feel that in B2B marketing, we're often conditioned to believe and to act on the creative is not as important as it is in B2C marketing. That forming that connection with the customer isn't as important. That in B2B marketing, you list out your products, you list your benefits, and bam, bam, Bob's your uncle, you're done. I feel that in B2B marketing, just like in B2C, it is imperative to work on that, creating that connection with your customer and having the creative that enables you to do that in order to have a successful B2B advertising campaign. When we brought this concept to our senior executive team, I am so pleased to say there was not a moment of hesitation, not a moment of reticence. They saw how this could really help us showcase ourselves and our capabilities in the market. And what that enabled our marketing team to do was to cut through the haze of B2B marketing with a head snap in a very sharp, clear, and memorable way. And we really employed a multi-sensory approach where when we show the creative in just a moment, you'll see a bright swath of our brand blue because we want it to visually stand out. You'll hear our sonic signature, which was the elephant trumpet and used from here on in our ad campaigns. And we also considered our musical score very carefully. We knew that TV advertising would be part of our media mix. And what we wanted to do was we knew that when TV ads came on, folks will start to multitask, they'll do other things. And we wanted that musical score to be fresh and to be unexpected so that it drew them back and made them want to pay attention to what's on the TV. We got immense feedback on how we were able to do that. And we were then able to utilize all these foundational elements and just build on them for future campaigns.
Okay, and talk a little more to the immediate distribution strategy and which channels were most effective for that B2B audience.
We employed a mix of high performing and high impact channels, which was really educated through a lot of research on the ingestion habits of our target audiences. So we employed a mix of digital out of home, digital display, online video, print, and TV, sports, and news. For me, the channels worked very well, but we were also utilizing uh, a marriage, if you will, of the creative and the channels. And what we aimed to do was to hone the creative in a very cost effective way to meet the needs of those channels to really make them sing. So in digital domination, we looked to see at which angles we were having our creative employed, in which placements. And we tried to really maximize our impact, our reach, and our exposure by having that wonderful union and moving away from the one size fits all approach in terms of creative in the channels. Matthew, I think I was supposed to have actually showcased our campaign just a minute ago. So I was wondering if we would be able to show it so that the audience would be able to actually see one element or one creative version of the campaign.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. We have liftoff.
You referred to the broadcast buys as part of the media plan. Now, broadcast TV, which is for many companies out of reach due to price. So, why was it important to make that investment as part of the campaign? And what do you say to B2B CMOs who are skeptical about making such a large allocation in their marketing budget?
I am really glad that you asked that question because it's not a light decision. Budgets, as we know, everywhere are very efficient, and we have to work to make sure that we're using them effectively. For us, there were a few different variables that led to this decision to use TV. And one was in my past experience, I've been fortunate enough to work with an organization that really utilized sports advertising. And it allowed me to see firsthand the passion that is evoked through sports advertising. And when that shared passion is there, that opening that you have with your target audience in order to form that connection and to provide a message to them. The other is that our target audience is skewed very heavily towards sports TV. And then lastly, I'd say it was, again, having worked with sports advertising in the past, you know the caliber, because to your point, it's not the cheapest medium. You know the caliber of brands that are also showcased. And by showcasing our own ads and our company there, it served to elevate our brand in a way that we might not have been able to do otherwise. We also employed a use of high impact, but also high performing channels. So it was almost like a 1-2 punch where we'd have the TV advertising, but then we drive the message home through online video, through digital display. And those channels were ones that we could directly measure and track our KPIs against. One other thing that I would say is that in moving from today to tomorrow, it is your brand and the unique value that your brand brings that will carry an organization through. It's not necessarily the immediate products that you sell here and now today. And with the huge undercurrent of change that we're all seeing in our organizations, even in our industries, I think that it is a real responsibility for senior leadership, whether it be marketing, whether it be product, to really understand and to really have a plan for how they're going to be taking their organization from today until a successful tomorrow. And I think that in marketing, it's the value that you invoke in your brand that carries you through that with absolute, highlight on your products and services. But I think it's what you're known for, and you ingest all that value into how you build your brand to see you through from now until tomorrow.
Sure, sure. You're really referring to this whole growing debate in the industry in B2B branding versus lead gen, where to put finite dollars. But this groundswell, if you will, for B2B marketings to embrace the branding side, to message to their audiences what they stand for and what their values are, I think is becoming increasingly important. And you make a very, very critical point for our audience moving forward. Can you share some of the results from the campaign?
I would love to. At the time that we had this campaign, our marketing team and our marketing campaigns were still fairly new. So we measured ourselves against industry benchmarks, in which we surpassed industry benchmarks in this campaign for click-through rates, for video completion rates. We saw increases of close to 120% in terms of visitors to our site during the time of the campaign, as well as increases in social media followers of 60% plus, including as well corresponding increases in social media engagement. So overall, we saw extremely strong results. We had been able to create that head snap to engage the audience and then drive them through to our website to find out more about what we did and to find out about our products and services. And then we were able to then utilize and create our own Symcor specific benchmarks based on that data, which we now track against.
Okay, and to wrap up here, last question for you. How has the execution helped to inform your messaging moving forward? What are the marketing lessons here?
I would say that the creative has enabled us to really bring the messaging to life, which it should. And with us, our messaging strategy is one of sacrifice, where and you might wonder, what are you talking about? But in B2B marketing, I think we're so prone to put everything on the table. We have this benefit and this benefit and this benefit. And I think we feel like we're not doing our jobs well if we leave anything off the table. So what we tried to do is to really sacrifice and hone down to what exactly is it? Where do we bring the value? And while this is new, for marketing, it was certainly something that was a journey with our product teams as well to feel comfortable in doing that. Our agency partner likens this, or he has a wonderful analogy to this, where he says that unless you have clear, concise messaging, what you created is lukewarm tea. And not even the best creative in the world can make a success out of lukewarm tea. So we've tried to stay the course. It's difficult sometimes, but we really aim and endeavor to do that so that we can bring out the best in our marketing campaigns.
And you can't boil the whole ocean in terms of, that's another critical point in terms of B2B marketers perhaps moving forward have to be a lot more selective in their the channels they pick, which horses they want to bet on. And this, because I agree with you that there does seem to be this somewhat compulsion out there to, we have to have every channel, we have to hit every social, we have to hit, all these bases. But you're saying be more selective.
Yeah, when you stand for everything, you almost stand for nothing. So you've got to be bold enough to, with your organization, say, what do we stand for? And really stand behind that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And with that, that's a wrap. Thanks so much, Rita.
Thank you so much, Matthew. It was wonderful talking with you.